Welcome, strangers and wanderers, to another thrilling episode of A War of Fang and Fur. I'm your Dungeon Master, Cameron Holt, and I'm joined by the victorious Arcana crew. Congratulations on the win, Arcana crew. It's been a long time coming. We begin not where we left off, but several weeks past. There's a loud crash as the portcullis gates descend. A swarm of armed guards emerge from the darkness, bearing manacles along with short swords. We see Hugin glancing around in a panic as Queen Azalea and Dame Liliana are tackled to the ground and gagged as manacles begin to be affixed around their wrists and ankles. 4 guards pounce onto Prince Riss, who struggles against them, throwing one off, but slowly is overpowered as one of them hits him in the side of the knee, and you see his leg bend at a bad angle as he goes down. Hugin, you dodge and weave as much as you can, but are grappled by a pair of oxen guards. What do you do?
Vamp.
Yeah, you look up out through the square openings of the portcullis into the courtyard beyond, and there's a flash of violet light as you activate your Amethyst Gem Soul and appear on the other side of the portcullis. You look back in, one glance over the shoulder before continuing to flee, and I'm going to ask Josh, actually, what does Hugin see on Riss's face as he looks up and sees her outside of this area of capture?
Probably a bit of relief and hopelessness at the same time.
Okay.
You see just absolute agony on Hugin's face as she realizes, like, there's no other option. She has to run.
Yep.
It's not until Hugin turns and continues running, ducking into the heavy brush of the area and into the surrounding forests of Oakreach, that we see just the tears streaming down Hugin's eyes as she flees, leaving her only family behind, but knowing deep down that she's going to get them back. We find ourselves in a lavish room with hand-carved molding across the ceiling and floor, gilded frames around expertly painted portraits of various birds, several peacocks of different varieties. There are ornate rugs and caterpillar furs that drape various floral-patterned couches, lounges, and armchairs. We see a young Elzor, accompanied by a plump pigeon, who you know to be named Dimitri, as well as a red-tailed hawk named Kraus. All of you are dressed in the traditional robes of the Zephyrian Church. Across from the trio, sitting forward and clutching his wings together nervously, is a plump peacock of deep blue with shimmering feathers. You know this to be Lord Callum Glittercrest. He's a wealthy merchant and one of Willownest's elite aristocrats. Lord Callum, sitting there nervously, just kind of leans forward. There have been strange whispers in the night, furniture rearranged when I awaken, things stacked on each other that certainly were not put that way before I took my rest. Broken dinner plates and goblets littering the floor. Are you sure, you're certain, that you can channel the power of Zephyria to banish these spirits from the premises?
Oh, most certainly, Lord Glittercrest. We can make this place safe for the time being, but you see, there's something that is bringing these evil spirits into your home, and you might think about, once you've arranged everything safely, selling your property. It might be the safest thing for you and your family, you see.
I see. Yes, your compatriot Dimitri has let me know that indeed these things can be apparently tricky to figure out, and Dimitri speaks up. Yes, it is true that sometimes the power of Zephyria, the winds, do not make it this far indoors, and the spirits cannot be banished. If this is the case, you may have to just abandon the mansion altogether, but we will do our best to rid the place of the spirits. Lord Callum just kind of swallows deeply. See that, very classic, cartoony, giant bird, Adam's apple swallow. He nods before standing and taking his leave, wishing you all well.
I'll look over at Kraus and Dimitri and go, all right, boys, if we can really scalp this peacock, we can get this place for a song. It's going to be great.
Kraus speaks up. Oh yeah, we'll tell them the spirits couldn't be quelled, needs to abandon the manor. Should make a nice hideout while we plan our next hit, eh, Elzor?
Yeah. This is going to be our best job yet.
And we watch as the group of you begin taking valuables off of the shelves and putting them into the deep bags that you carry with you.
You know when you eat something sour and you like break into a cold sweat?
I'm so excited.
We return to the present, post-prison break. Brass Bandalar and Dame Liliana sit amidst quiet tension within the hollowed-out oak tree. Suddenly the door swings open as Ash enters. They've returned! They did it! The rest of you enter the space with Sir Rob in tow. He's looking a little worse for wear. In addition to Sir Rob being in tow, Thylus, the Thylacine, is also present with you. He's stuck with you for now, but has kind of kept his distance from the group during your travels. It took you about a half a day to lose your tail from the prison break. The cave-in that you caused behind you absolutely helped in slowing down the guards that would have pursued, and kind of laid low for another half day before returning to your rendezvous point with the group. Dame Liliana instantly rushes up. She's going to lay on hands on Sir Rob and give him basically everything that she's got left over to help close up the wounds from his torture process that was being done to him within the Howling Keep. He's brought over to the bed and kind of laid down. Thylus stays by the door, kind of arms crossed and just like looking over the group. Kind of an odd cluster of people. But he's got this bird from Willow Nest who's clearly in the heavy armor of someone who channels the might of Zephyria, as well as Queen Azalea of Vulpus and Fluperel, Lady Hugin, and Pockle, whom he seems to know a little bit more intimately than the rest. And then Brass Bandalar, who is taking up most of the space inside of this hollowed out tree, who's just kind of like sitting by the fire and just like does a couple of big claps as you all come in, like grabs Hugin and like shakes you a little too hard. Well done, well done.
Careful, our bones are hollow.
Oh, right, sorry, I did not mean to be so rough. I'm just so excited that things finally worked out. I feel like we've been having, ever since I joined up with you, just a bad luck after bad luck. So it's nice to see something finally come together.
You know, you're right. It's you.
Hugo looks pointedly at Azalea.
I'm on to something.
Always with the good jokes, as it were.
Yes, the winds of Zephyria definitely carried us through that awful place. It was wonderful.
We really got spread.
Yes, as you say.
Excellent.
Good to be back.
Well, hopefully those winds will carry us through and across the borders into Dunborough, which I believe should be our next point of order, correct?
Right.
Yes, I think that was what we had discussed, right?
Right, and except for the sisters, they'll be heading north.
Yes, Dame Liliana speaks up. I believe now that we know that you've returned and are safe, we'll probably rest here for the night, switch off keeping watch, and in the morrow, we'll set out for Riddle Hill Run and hope that we can reach King Ulrich Ironhide, and that we can bring him to our cause. We'll send a bee if things go well to let you know, probably a number of bees in case any of them are taken down.
That's adorable.
Hugin, are you versed in the Thieves' Tongue?
I am, yes.
Excellent. We'll send our message coded so that if anyone else might come across it, it'll be harder for them to find out what it is that we're truly relaying.
Perfect.
For some of you, it might strike you as a little odd that Dame Liliana is versed in the Thieves' Tongue, but...
She gets up to shit. That's not my business.
What about the rest of you? What are you guys up to?
I'll check everyone else for injuries. I don't know how much anyone else was hurt in that last fight, but...
I think I'm fine.
I don't think anybody was injured.
Yeah, I didn't get hurt at all.
I don't know.
It was truly a seamless, like flawless victory.
Being in a gun battle and then being like, is everybody good? I think
No,
we're good.
no holes. Well, just
Yeah.
the ones that normal.
That,
The ones that are meant to be
that
there.
Shanghai Noon moment of like holding out the robes and seeing all the holes in them.
What about the new guy, the new beastly guy?
I mean, he's definitely injured. He was in the same room as Sarab being tortured for information.
I mean, if it seems like this is if we're gonna rest after this, I might as well heal him up also.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah.
He doesn't flinch at your approach, but he does like kind of eye you. It's this odd sensation of someone who clearly views themselves as this sort of like apex predator and knows that they are such. That there is this unflinching like stare as he just kind of watches you approach and is kind of taking in your whole situation, but there's no fear, there's no uncertainty, purely investigation, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
How does Elzor approach? I imagine it's just like jaunty fellow.
Would you care for some healing?
Sure, yeah, that sounds good to me.
Start hitting him with some
Understand,
healing spells.
Some healing for you, sir.
He does kind of like notably relax a little bit as the healing takes effect and some of his wounds close up. You get the sense that there was probably a lot of internal damage that he was trying to kind of play it off as not feeling, but having that kind of tension released, his shoulders kind of lower a little bit.
I can't imagine what you have been through, and please understand that I mean no offense. But what was it that they were asking you? And I asked this to both Thylas and Sir Rob.
Sitting on Sir Rob's lap.
Stroking the back halves.
Sarab is fully like laying down, but he's kind of like propped up a little bit in this makeshift pile of straw that he's calling a bed. Well, they had a lot of questions about, weirdly, mostly about Queen Azalea. They wanted to know your whereabouts, where they took you after the execution. They wanted to know who else we'd met up with, if anyone, and I'm gonna make actually a quick history check for Sir Rob.
You know, it doesn't really strike me as that weird. They are actively trying to kill me. So, sounds par for the course of questions I'd have.
Not great.
My poor boy.
Yeah, that's a 6.
Education wasn't his main pursuit. It was the bagpipes.
I'll be honest with you, I kind of lost track of a lot of the questions they were asking. I was just trying mostly to focus on not saying anything, which I didn't. I didn't say a single word other than screams and howls from time to time. A few chirps, but no information. He makes a cheetah sound.
Cheetah chirps are so cute.
Thylas kind of waits for Rob to finish up. He's like, they were mostly asking me about my outfit, as it were.
Like look down. Is he just wearing pants or something?
Yeah,
just
he
wearing
actually
jorts?
is. He actually is like it, just like tattered brown, like classic like
Jorts.
Bethesda prisoner trousers.
Yeah.
But just absolutely jacked.
I just like
Got
the idea
the-
of John Cena's shorts on
Oh, the
him,
wings.
jorts.
Well, the stripe things with the Tasmanian
yeah.
tiger.
Yeah, and like as Rob is talking, he like yawns, and you get a view of how absolutely massive his jaw is. Not the clothes I'm wearing, but I mean, I run with a crew. Honestly, further east of here, near the Lamella Riverlands. It's where I met with Parkle.
I used to go with them as well. Yeah.
So mostly they were just questioning me about that.
How long ago were you locked up?
They brought me in, hard to keep track of days. The cells they were keeping us in didn't have windows or nothing, but I think I slept maybe 4 times.
Any particular reason you stopped working with them, or?
Kind of awkwardly would y'all.
All right.
I wasn't a big fan of, forgive me, Lady Hugin's plan, but, you know, Parker wanted to help out, and I believe in the right to choose what it is that you want to do, so I let him choose.
He ain't the biggest fan of you, rich folk.
This is the first time Hugin's like,
What?
Don't worry, I ain't gonna overstay my welcome neither. I appreciate the healing. I appreciate the getting sprung, but this really ain't my scene. So,
understood. Well, your reputation precedes you, and to be honest, we thought it was strange that you were ever even caught. We only ever heard whispers and legends of you. But it seems that we might have a common enemy, even if you aren't fans of us, so we figured you being on the loose, as it were, would be beneficial.
yeah.
Brett, I
Well-
just have to know, like, did I do something, though, that you don't like, or is it just kind of...
I'll be honest, I don't know nothing about anything you've done. Other than you had a wedding, went south.
Right, so we could still fix this. I could still be liked. It's very important to me.
Kind of like grimaces at that a little bit. On your question about, well, it wasn't really a question, but I'll give you an answer. I typically do run my outfit in a way that we kind of keep to the shadows. We're in and out pretty quick, but there was somebody that I'm quite fond of that I learned had been taken by this group, and against my companion's better judgment, I decided to go get her out, and I did, but at the cost of about half my squad and my own self being captured. So
Hugin looks at Sir Rob.
I appreciate y'all getting me out. I hope you don't take no offense, but I'll probably be resting my head outside of here. And you guys can make insight checks if you'd like.
I'd like nothing better. 20.
What?
Nice.
I have a plus 12.
That's a 19.
Oh,
Hugin.
Nice.
19.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, we can read this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he like me?
He looks at all of you with, on a base level, mistrust. He, as stoic and proud as he stands, does not trust a single person in this room. And with some of you, there's this, like, as his eyes kind of pass over Azalea and Hugin, even a little bit with Sir Rob as well, there is this deep-seated hatred that it's just kind of underlying, that just shows itself in the kind of like twitch at the corner of his mouth back by his ear. You get the sense that he's not going to attack you guys in this moment. He is grateful for what you've done for him, but at the same time, he doesn't trust any of you, and he doesn't want to be around you.
Thylas, we hold you in no debt for what has happened here, but I do hope that despite your disdain for us, you can see similarities between us and you. We are guilty of the same thing, of trying to save our loved ones at the risk of everything.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
You're doing great. Have some bardic inspiration. I think he's starting to like us.
D8 still?
Yeah.
Well, it's a 22 without the bardic.
Nice.
I might just hang on to the bardic.
Yeah, hold
Yeah,
it.
might as well. He truly considers what you say and kind of glances over at Sir Rob, and you can see a battle happening within this person of someone who's spent their entire life hating nobility, hating those who are wealthier than those that they trod upon, the ones who fight their wars for them. And there's this brief flicker of, oh shit, we did do the same thing, didn't we? And they helped me. But then that hatred is always there. And there's just this uncertainty, this like battle behind the eyes that you can see of wanting to trust you, but everything about his upbringing not allowing him to fully give into that.
I mind fucked him.
You did. He straightens up again. Again, I appreciate what you've done for me, and if you ever find yourselves in need of aid, Paco knows how to find me. So, I wish y'all good luck, and
Do you also dislike me? Intrinsically? Can I fix it?
I don't really know you that much.
I can
I'll be
fix
honest.
this. I can fix this.
You're like, I have a lot of, I used to have a
I
lot
had
of
at
money.
one time a lot of money. I intend to again.
Wait, is that
Unless
the bad
that's why you don't like me.
thing? That's the bad thing. I don't have the money now. Is that good?
We're the same.
Youch! That did not help.
That was bad. You can help me out.
Just maybe-
The poor's like you.
Just maybe.
the poor's like you.
Not as
Takes
interested
a
in.
step back.
Silas considers not helping.
I promise. There really ain't that bad, man. Like, she risked her life and limb to go help save who was basically a guard for her. I mean,
Not even mine.
Right.
I've never paid him.
If you're trying to get into Duneborough, your best bet is going to be, there's a narrow section of river in the northern part of Vale Hollow. There's no checkpoints or guard towers within about a 3-mile diameter of this area. Right near the border of Vale Hollow and Timberhaven, where they meet with the Bleachwood Holt on the river there. That part is heavily policed. But if you go just due north of there, if you can get yourselves across the river into the Bleachwood Holt, you're going to have a much easier time getting into Duneborough than you would from Vale Hollow or Riddle Hill Run.
How far would that put us from where we're trying to get within Duneborough?
Brass kind of like rolls out a map. You're all kind of like looking over this map now, and Silas is like pointing on it where he would direct you to go. Basically, it's this area on the map where there's like a tree within the river is the area that he's speaking about. It's like at the very northernmost part of that river. Looking over at Brass is like, maybe 2 days travel across the dunes. I know a path from there that could take us past 2 oases, which, will be the reason that the time will be longer, but it will be imperative that we make stops for water.
Right.
We appreciate the information, Silas. Hugin hands him like a thing of rations.
He takes it like cautiously, but nods. Thanks again. I hope y'all don't die. And if you find yourselves traveling in the east near the border with the Lamella Riverlands, maybe don't show your livery so blatantly. And he kind of like nods and backs out of the space and leaves the room.
I don't know that we've shown our liveries since the wedding.
I mean,
No.
where am I?
I'm kind of
Oh,
rogued
you got
out.
your Zephyria.
I mean, it's not like expensive. It's just.
Yeah, you all get the sense that was more of a like, we rob and murder nobles on the road there, so if you're going to make yourself obviously known as such, maybe don't.
I mean,
Hot.
Eat the rich. But unfortunately,
Taboo. It's taboo.
yeah. Not unless someone has one of those onyx gems.
Even then,
yeah.
frowned upon.
More of a guideline than a rule, really. I'm kind of wanting to try out, but like before we rest, my new ability. I'm thinking to myself, is there anyone that we would want to have a peek on right now, if we could? Like, sneaky view into what they're up to.
Kind of creeping me out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious.
What?
Many people.
I have the scry spell,
He's just like
so.
pulling the clothes up a little bit.
Well, I have access to a new spell, and I haven't gotten to try it out yet. It lets me scry on, well, pretty much anyone. in this world.
Like, no matter where they are, you couldn't see them.
Will they know?
Maybe.
That would be less ideal, I have to be honest.
Risky.
You imagine you're just taking a shit and just like, somebody watching me?
I mean, I think it would be good to know where the armadillo is. If he's in a place where we can just take him out.
If he's
Great.
talking about us. Is there anybody who spends a lot of time around the armadillo who maybe wouldn't be as jumpy?
I mean, I know a lot of members of the Royal Guard who probably are still in service to the High King, but we're also, quite resilient to, outside forces pressing on our minds and bodies and stuff.
I think only if they can see things that are invisible would they have any idea that I was viewing them.
That armadillo does have more tricks up his sleeves than we expected.
I mean, he's not the only person that we could view. We have other people that we have concerns with. The Rain Lord, the bears.
Yes, perhaps in aid of... he kind of like motions at Ash and Liliana, and they're like, yes, if we could get a look on King Ulrich just to make sure he's still alive and well, that would be helpful.
Yeah. All right, well, I will...
Let's start there and see how things go, and if we're absolutely fucked that direction, we won't go another direction.
I'll start casting the spell. It takes 10 minutes to cast, so...
Okay.
I'll summon wind up until it starts forming into a solid sphere, like a solid little ball.
Just like, I hate when he does this.
And then...
Fucking windy.
Was that guy at the... He wasn't at the wedding, was he?
No, but he was at the Tournament of Champions.
Okay. Okay, so I have probably met him.
Yeah, you would at least be... I think any of the royalty of the Nettlewood Grove you would be familiar enough with to be able to scry on them. They make themselves known.
You'll see that orb disappear, and I guess they'll need to make a saving throw.
All right.
A wisdom
Unless he's
saving
a
throw.
dirty bear who likes to be scried on.
Ooh, while he's pooping.
Charmin style.
I do love that!
Save DC is 17. They do.
I don't think that's going to do it. That is an 8.
Yep.
All right.
He's singing it's like, taking a shit, just taking a shit. There's a bear shit in the woods.
Roll me a D100 and let me know if you roll below a 50. A 50 or below.
91.
91. Hot damn. Okay. Nice. Yeah, there's there's a 50% chance that at any time
He's
King
taking a
Ulrich
shit.
is getting it on.
Oh,
Homie's
true.
Homie's got like 10 wives, and has been notably referred to as being prolific in his lineage.
Virile.
Does a bear fuck in the woods?
So
Does a bear fuck in the caves? So Elzor, you see a space that you're probably unfamiliar with compared to places that you've been within the Nettlewood Grove.
I see a place that I'm unfamiliar with.
Just like in between a woman's legs.
Burn.
Or in between a bear's legs.
Hey!
Up a bear's ass.
No. You find your vision within a space that's very dark, actually, but there's this light, fluorescent glow to these various mushrooms that decorate the space. You know by descriptions that you've heard alone that this is probably within the castle of Honeywood in Riddle Hill Run. The castle itself, the reason that Riddle Hill Run gets its name is because it's a series of mountains that is so riddled with cave systems that like there are sections where the light comes down into the caves from above, but there's also like darkened areas and there's all types of fungus and like bioluminescent flora that grows in the space that keeps it lit at all hours of the day. You know yourself to be looking at the royal throne room of Honeywood. Seated there on a throne is King Ulrich Ironhide. He's a black bear, but he's pretty large for a black bear. Most of them are a little bit smaller in nature. He's got deep black fur that's kind of speckled with gray in places, particularly kind of along his forearms and around the part of his muzzle that was once brown has now gone fully white. His left eye is a little cloudy, and there's a crown of iron that kind of like twists into these spires atop his head. He's seated there on his throne, and I'm gonna have you make me a luck check on a d20.
15.
15, nice. He leans forward in his crown, and stepping into your range of view is a young bear. This looks to be like a young grizzly. It's honestly about the size of King Ulrich, and he kind of leans forward. You know I'm not going to be here all the time. My days are becoming more and more numbered, and with your brothers in the south continuing this trivial civil war of theirs, I grow tired. So you need to be prepared. Do you understand? I'd say, without even having to make a history check, you are aware that this is a bear that hasn't earned their name yet, but he is known as Prince Ulbrind. He is King Ulrich's 12-year-old son and the heir to the throne of Riddle Hill Run. I'd say, Elzor, you're also aware. Well, no, I don't think anyone would be aware of this that's still alive.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's okay. I can be unaware of things.
And you see them basically continue to converse, and it's you seem to have kind of cut in on a conversation between King Ulrich and his son, that his son needs to be prepared to take up the crown in the instance that Ulrich falls during this war. You can go ahead and make an insight check. Actually, no. This would be a politics check.
Oh, shit.
So that's going to be, I would think Elzor probably has proficiency in politics. So this is going to be an intelligence-based roll. It'll be intelligence plus proficiency.
Proficiency, sorry.
23.
You don't get the sense that this is King Ulrich admitting that like his forces are down in the war, that he's like losing this battle. You get the sense that this is more of a hardening tactic to, as much as you can see in King Ulrich's eyes that he doesn't want to have to do this, he kind of has to get his son prepared before his time and wizened before his time in case anything goes wrong or anything happens, to be prepared to take the throne. You can see that his son is very clearly nervous, but there is a readiness. He seems more upset at the idea of his father passing than he is worried about having to rule. You don't know too much about Riddle Hill Run's like interior politics in terms of, you know, how things are, or rather how factions relate with one another within. But you know that there are a lot of people who are not a big fan of the fact that this 12-year-old is first in line for the throne of Riddle Hill Run, especially to a bear who has so many children spread out across so much area.
So many who are older and all that as well. I'm assuming, yeah.
Exactly. Which, you know, was one of the contributing factors to this civil war even taking place in the first place. But I'd say from this brief insight, you get the sense that maybe people aren't giving this kid enough credit.
The 12-year-old?
Okay.
Wait, do we know why he is the heir to the throne?
Make a politics check.
Can I?
I assume Elzor is kind of relaying this to everyone, because I believe the way that the spell works is you're the one who sees it, so you would have to relay what you're seeing and hearing to everyone else.
Yeah. And I will be doing that.
Absolutely. So yeah, you guys can make politics checks.
26.
26.
Nice.
Dang.
Excellent.
Sibling.
This is my sister. This is my brother. You guys are aware that in Riddle Hill Run, like you, as higher ups in nobility of the Nettlewood Grove, you guys have been, or at least adjacent to said nobility. you've been educated on the various kingdoms and how their politics work. You know that in Riddle Hill Run, an heir is chosen, as opposed to in Timberhaven, among the Luperels, typically the oldest son is the one who is named the heir. In Riddle Hill Run, an heir is chosen because it's kind of known that there's going to be a lot of them. They don't distribute high titles like that based upon just the fact that you were born first. There's a little bit more, I wouldn't say democracy. The king still chooses which of his progeny is going to be his heir, but there is a choice involved. While we're on the subject, you guys would also be aware that in Vale Hollow, it's a matriarchy. So similar to Timberhaven, it's the eldest is typically the heir, but it's always the eldest daughter. And you kind of like thinking on this and talking with each other, you all kind of like glance at Dame Liliana and Ash, knowing that Ash has kind of like created a large taboo for herself in that she refused that title and kind of passed it down to Dame Liliana, who was much more, suited in the ways of knighthood and things. And Ash is more just like, before all this shit went down, just kind of wanted to hang out and party and have a good time. Yeah. And in the Bleachwood Holt, it's kind of like a meshing of the two. It's the eldest born is the heir, but it doesn't matter if it's a male or female.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so you're aware that this specific heir was chosen by King Ulrich over his other children to be the heir. And obviously that's caused some tension amongst the family that's sort of erupted onto the countryside now.
Meeny, miny,
But you do glean that King Ulrich Ironhide is still alive and well, though, getting up in his years, it seems like he is preparing his heir for the potential taking over of his seat.
All right. That spell lasts about 10 minutes, so like if there's no other
we'll say like
things that pop up,
they kind of are having that conversation, and King Ulrich like stands and approaches, and it goes from basically like a little like pump them up speech to they begin training with one another. They get practice swords and are sparring in the throne room.
Okay. Well, I'll relay all of that to the group.
How old are you, Dame Liliana?
I'm 18.
6 years. Okay.
Just planning out your future alliance marriages.
Well, it would seem that
I'm so proud.
King Ulrich is alive and maybe not so well, but certainly kicking. I would say that it is also important that we get in the good graces of the heir as well.
Yes, I've not met Ulbrand per se, but I've seen him take part in a few small tournaments in very controlled environments. Of course, he's quite young, but he seems in a few years he'll probably be a challenging contender.
Who doesn't love a challenging contender?
So we'll leave on the morrow for Riddle Hill Run.
If it seems like you can't get through, pull out.
Ash is like, always do.
Sure that you choose a good pull-out method.
Be spread and pull out, yes. The two things.
What are you? I'm just.
Yes, and in the eyes of Pluvenia, may she wet you.
I hate us. I hate us so much.
No, we're doing good things.
We're doing
This is what people needed.
We're doing Zephyria's work.
Oh, this is a little retroactive, but I'm gonna say Pockle, you can make a history check.
Cool.
We'll call this like a DC 12. This is to see if you know who Thylas was referring to when he was talking about who he went to save.
Ooh, his.
Ooh, I rolled well, 30-20.
Yeah, you know that he was probably talking about his younger sister, who is an otter by the name of Condora.
Oh. Interesting.
Thylas and Condora are related?
We know her.
We know her.
We just lost track of her after the tournament.
I should say, Paco, you be aware that they are half siblings.
Wait, did Condora get killed during the tournament?
No.
Okay.
Well, only one person got killed during the tournament.
And then a few after.
And a few after. But no, Condora was in the healer's tent afterwards. So it is expected that they escaped.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
I'll casually just kind of.
You just casually throw that out there.
Oh, by the way, while we're talking about
The otter from the tournament.
Believe that I healed her.
I wasn't
as
at
well.
the tournament, but yeah.
Interesting. That makes a little more sense now. Why Thylas would be on the border with the Riverlands. He must have more family there.
So, but what would she have done that got her captured?
Well, if her relation to Thylas was known, maybe that was part of the plan of getting Thylas captured. He's been wanted for a while, and wasn't it that she wanted one of the...
She made it no secret during the tournament that her boon she would seek of the High King was to have her clan annexed into the Nettlewood Grove.
Right.
So that they could have the protections of the full High King's army if any of the other clans were to try and overtake them or their lands.
Seems kind of counter to Thylas and his philosophies.
Yes.
I mean, perhaps.
And you don't always see eye to eye with your siblings, so I've heard.
That's true.
Hence the
Wouldn't know.
I imagine that Paco has like 30 siblings, little tiny possum brothers and sisters.
Brass is like, very true.
I mean, there's a whole bear civil war going on between brothers.
Yes, we're going to kill my brother
And
and
that.
usurp his throne.
Your throne.
My throne, yes. Formerly.
We're not usurping
future.
anyone. We're not usurpers. It's not what we do. We
Right,
just
it's not treason if you're in the right.
Right. Right.
How's Paco
Yeah.
looking about?
I'm a usurper.
What are you usurping?
I mean,
Oh, you want to kill the armadillo?
yeah.
Oh!
Well, but that's what we're saying now,
deal.
you know, because he's not supposed to be on the throne, so it's not really treason if he shouldn't be there.
I mean, if you follow the events, which there's many and they're kind of convoluted, she's the queen.
Yes, don't worry. Once we all succeed, we will write the history books so that it's chill. It was chill that we did that.
We were heroes. It's right.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel bad in my heart.
Murin is kind of quietly in the corner, like
Which part?
The fire's crackling.
Which part upsets you?
Something about history? I don't know. I've forgotten it already.
Well, here's the thing, right? If we all agree to do a really good job, then it's a good thing what we're doing.
Oh, right. Once we're in power, then
Because
we
right,
actually
like
have to do.
right now, right? You see, the current Rainbringer,
yes.
they want to start a war,
Which is bad.
which is bad. People die
That's bad.
in wars. So if Brass, and I'm making a guess here, if you agree that there won't be a war,
Right. Well, there won't have to be a war, because I will be the Rainbringer in charge of Dunborough. You will be the High Queen in charge of Nettlewood Grove. We will have an alliance. No need for war.
that's good.
These
Yes.
are good things.
Neither of us need to conquer the other, because we will just be, communicating and cooperating. Sticks his 4 giant hippo fingers together.
Right.
Hugin's looking at the fingers like,
No conquering. Nobody dies. Except potentially us. And that's our business. Now, if we fail, lots of people die.
different history books get written.
History books in which we are traitors? Is that the current? Is that what they're saying?
I believe so.
I think they gave me a whole name about it.
Possibly.
Snazzy.
Was the traitor heart?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
It's
And
kind of a sick name, though.
Yeah, gotta say.
I'll be
it has a ring
honest.
to it.
It's kinda,
it's,
well, I
it's-
agreed to this a little bit. but
Really? All right.
You prefer Heartfire.
Well, I think we'll have to revisit. It's kind of whatever works best for what I'm after. It's kind of what I prefer.
It's my understanding that names change.
So if
In the
Trader
grove?
Heart is doing better amongst the community,
I don't think it will.
I mean, it might give you a certain amount of street credibility amongst certain groups,
I think
but
that's kind of what I'm lacking
Oh,
here right
perhaps
now.
we
though.
start chaining them together.
But
Like
not-
you are Azalea Heartfire of the Traitor Hearts, you know, liberator of the animals,
I think people are going to have a hard time.
savior of the grove.
That's kind of up to the Grove, really.
I think it will be up to you if you're in charge of it, yes?
But you can't. It's like a nickname. Like you can't really just be like, oh, I want to be Zaz.
Well, no, it
Like,
has to be
you
based
gotta-
on things that
somebody
like
else-
you are doing or will do.
Right, but somebody's gonna have to agree that I did that.
Oh, infiltrator of the Howling Keep. That one's fun.
Ooh. I kind of mucked it
Or
up there, though. I
chain
think that one
breaker.
belongs over yonder.
Remind me where we're at. As someone who came in from the outside, would I have been aware that the king is dead? Is there still a fake king up right now and stuff?
So the story that was posed, you would be aware of this, Pockle, is that you all went to meet with the armadillo. Bristlebeard. He had invited you all. He invited this group to come and talk.
He killed the king.
Yeah, and then he played that off as you guys infiltrated the castle, murdered the High King, and committed treason, basically, and that's why he had everyone arrested. And but I would say when you met Hugin, she probably filled you in that that's
Yeah.
not what happened.
Yep.
So you'd be aware, because now the sitting High King is Bristlebeard. He is High King Bristlebeard of the Nettlewood Grove.
Will say you probably got the idea that I didn't care one way or another if y'all were innocent or not.
Who else is planning on... So we have issues with Duneborough right now, and somebody else.
the bears.
Well, so there's a couple of
Yeah.
of issues. So Duneborough, there's, and again, this is all information that you've only gotten directly from Bristlebeard. So whether or not this is the truth is still up in the air. Whether Bristlebeard can be trusted. But according to him, Duneborough is planning an invasion of the Nettlewood Grove. They're bringing their armies full force to the border to take over essentially the entire kingdom, the entire of the four kingdoms. In addition to that, there's also rumors that in order to do this, Duneborough has signed a treaty with Willow Nest, the Birds of Willow Nest, and that their combined forces will be the invading force. So the idea is that there are basically two countries who have come together to conquer the one below them. And you guys aren't really aware of what you've heard, like whispers through the bushes that in the Lamella Riverlands, there's been a lot more activity of like fighting and infighting, and in addition to alliances being made between various clans of the Riverlands, and they're kind of like overtaking and absorbing each other, but nobody knows kind of what that's about or where it's leading.
I haven't heard anything about Willow Nest invading anyone
No.
from my,
No, you haven't.
grapevine.
Yeah, no, when you went to the temple and met Munin, they didn't mention anything to you about that going on. And it seems like something they would bring up, unless it's, meant to be
Top secret.
yeah, like don't let anyone within the grove know that this is happening or something. But
All right.
so it could still go either way.
So, I know your game in all this. You hate the armadillo, and would like for there not to be him anymore. Great. What's your deal?
I serve the will of Zephyria.
Right, and Zephyria wants...
What does she will?
Can't speak for her exactly, but,
But she
so far,
so let her speak through you.
well, she
Let her spread you.
she did guide that we should go to Duneborough through the
Sure.
divining that we performed earlier, and speaking with my superiors, they encouraged me to assist you as well. So
But I guess I'm just curious, that's... I'm not a bird. I've
that
never given...
much is clear.
I've never given anything to Zephyria, and I don't... No. Hugan, quick aside. judgment-free space. Do you worship the bird?
I was raised by wolves.
Right, that's why I'm curious. Do you think it's just because you're a bird? Is that maybe why we're getting help? We're getting bird help? On your behalf?
Yugen just looks at Elzor like,
This was an aside. I don't know what you guys are saying.
Is it because she's a bird?
I mean, Zephyria does tend to lend her aid to those of the feathered persuasion, but I was at your wedding, and I did hear the proclamation that you were to be named the High Queen.
Right, no, I agree that I love your help. It's just that it kind of has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it
doesn't have to do with
it's
me
very
personally.
good and useful that you're here, and I
Yes.
appreciate it. Do you
Yes.
like me?
I think that you're a fine ruler, and could be a fine ruler,
Great.
and I believe that you're the rightful ruler,
Wonderful.
and I don't know what else you want from me.
We will mark that down as help from Bird God.
I don't want to, mix things up too much.
Sure.
I've been through a lot the last couple of days.
You
but
have.
Is there any chance that maybe Bristlebeard was lying to us about Dinborough invading?
That would be a fucking problem.
Maybe it was an attempt to get us to do just something like this, where we try to go up there and stop it, but instead just go get murdered and he doesn't even have to worry about us because it's not on his soil even?
Well,
but Brass. Wait, Brass, you have the same information though? That your brother intends to invade?
Oh, I've never heard that specifically, no.
Oh.
I was banished from Dunborough. I told you this, I was banished from Dunborough because, I couldn't get the peace treaty going. There have been border skirmishes between Nettlewood Grove and Dunborough for ages. Fighting over, how much who has. So it does not seem outlandish to me that they would be, organizing a push. But also, that being said, my main goal here is to overthrow my brother, take my rightful place on the throne as the Rain Lord, so that I can release the people that he has been enslaving across Dunborough.
Right, that is also bad.
Yeah.
But will we die?
Right, so I think what I'm saying is if the armadillo is lying to us, and Dinborough is not invading, would our efforts be better placed, here within the Grove, maybe gathering allies from either the Bleachwood Holts, whatever they're up to, or Riddle Hill Run, if not both, and then overthrowing the armadillo, and then having, full command of the Nettlewood Grove's collective armies to then, put Brass back on the throne?
if we wait until tomorrow, I can see about looking in on the Rain Lord and seeing what he is up to, but only for a few minutes.
I
I don't
think we
know.
should-
Timing might be an issue.
I'd say you probably aren't familiar enough with the Rain Lord to be able
I
to
think if we're
describe
going
him.
to do it again, we should just go ahead and rip off the bandages and see what the armadillo's doing.
There's also the question of what is happening in the Bleachwood Holt. We
I'm
have no
curious.
visibility into them.
Tell me, if we do this, the magic-looking guy on the armadillo, even if he is able to see invisible things and knows that someone is watching him, will he know that it's us and where we are?
No. Unless he has access to scrying magic and has been watching us this entire time.
Oh.
Do we have any way of knowing that? Like, can we feel it? Can we sense it?
I think if you succeed on the saving throw, you can tell. If I'm not mistaken.
On a successful save, the target isn't affected, and you can't use the spell against it again for
You have to
24
be able
hours.
to see something visible, right?
Yeah, the
Oh,
only way
I
that
see
they
what
would
you
know
mean.
is if they fail the save, we are viewing them, and they can see the invisible sensor.
Oh, so no. You have no way of knowing.
So open up a sack real quick and a bunch of glowing lightning bugs come out and kind of light up the room. Basically, I'm casting fairy fire.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
The fireflies flitter around the space, and you know that they would kind of clump up onto anything that is unseen as they're kind of drawn to that type of magic. But they just kind of disperse amongst the space before returning to your bag. as of right now, you are not being watched.
Well, this conversation seems to be relatively safe then. I don't
Yes.
know if he has the ability, if he has done it before.
I can prevent a handful of people from being watched in such a way for a time, but it seems better suited to doing if we're trying to get the drop on someone.
Makes sense.
You know?
That if we're going to be discussing confidential things.
Right, and I can't protect all of us, so it's tricky.
So it would be the ones that we would assume would be the biggest targets, you being one of them, probably me being another.
Apparently Sir Rob, who's pretty consistently just getting it absolutely handed to him.
Yeah.
1,000-yard
looks
stare.
at his hand.
I'm just gonna give him a third level healing words real quick. Healing word. 13.
Nice. He appreciates it.
Once
Think
scrying
I do.
comes into the game, it gets so scary.
Unless it's already been part of the
I know,
game
we
all
have no
along.
idea.
Sorry for party rockin'.
Now, if we can, if there's no immediate danger of invasion on either side, our time would be better spent getting allies where we already are. Especially because those are the people in theory will need to continue supporting us as we go. Otherwise, we'll have our own civil war amongst the entire Nettlewood Grove.
I mean, I don't think that we should be straying from the plan we already have because it now is going to be taking us into the Bleachwood Holt. Although, originally, we were hoping to be undetected. Maybe information in the morning, if we apply scrying again, changes that. Otherwise, I still say we make for the borders, and the sisters head towards Riddle Hill Run.
Hey, Big Bang. You think it'd be better to try to sneak in to try to take out your brother, or to meet him on full force?
If it is the 5 of us, 6, 7, there's 7 of us, sneak in.
Bazinga.
We do not want to face an army alone.
Well, I'm saying would it be better if we had an army in our back and went on, head
Oh.
to head, or...
Oh, if we had time to train the army specifically if I had time to train an army about, the styles of fighting that will be used in the dunes and what to expect while fighting in the desert, potentially. If we had the full force of the Nettlewood Grove, I think we could do it, because it's my understanding that our skirmishes have just been between, various border guards, basically. There hasn't been a full-on assault.
Well, I'm sure that Bleachwood Holt would be welcoming to this information and would love to be allies after that. This is the thing that we were trying to avoid, was all-out war.
Yes.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but it seems like if we go talk to, the Bears or Bleachwood or any of that stuff, why would they join our side when we don't have an army, Like,
Well,
this
technically,
seems the easiest way to get some people behind us.
Liliana speaks up. Our goal with going to Riddle Hill Run and speaking with King Ulrich is that we're going to tell him the truth, and that Bristlebeard is not the rightful High King. That he reached that status unlawfully, lied to the entirety of Nettlewood Grove, labeled the rightful heir as a treasoner, and attempted to have her murdered publicly. Hopefully that will be enough to bring them to our side, knowing that that's the reality of the situation.
I mean,
But
he
if
is
not-
guilty of additional crimes as well. He had the Queen Mother killed, and
Yes.
several members of the Queen's Guard
The
that
Royal
were
Guardsmen.
knowledgeable about the King's true role killed, and
Yes, that's very true. He's guilty of many heinous crimes. Hopefully that will be enough to bring the Bears to our side. Once we have the Bears on our side, the Bleachwood Holt might be more willing to listen.
I mean, call him out on all that. Seems like he might, retaliate.
Munin speaks up. I don't know much about politics, but I do know that we have a better bet in Riddle Hill Run than the Bleachwood Holt. If I'm not mistaken,
Is the Bleachwood Holt is where the deer people are, right?
yes.
Okay.
House Kane.
We don't know shit about what's going on there.
I mean, to your point though, you offer them a
Tactile
future
advantage.
bride or something else. I feel like you might come to sway sides.
Unless I'm mistaken, the words of House Kane are caution breeds longitude. They are incredibly unlikely to lend aid in a wartime effort. They do harbor many powerful warriors, but it is their way to not involve themselves in such matters.
Perhaps then it would be vital for them to know that there's concern that if things continue on the way that they are, there could be a war.
Yes, well, historically, during the Great Hunt, that was essentially the hands were forced as High Queen Juniper during the Great Hunt found herself enamored with one of the daughters of House Kane,
Right.
and as such did not marry it. As part of the main reason that the Great Hunt was able to take place was Queen Juniper fled from the castle on that night and was going to seek out her beloved in the Bleachwood Holt when the assassin arrived and eliminated the rest of her family. And it was due to that fact that she was able to live and return and become the High Queen. But the war was not won until it was fought at the Bleachwood Holt in Iverwold, was the final battle where the Mad King brought his forces to the Bleachwood Holt and surrounded the capital because it's where the High Queen was. Her and her retinue were there trying to bring the House Kane to their side when the war was essentially brought to their doorstep. Now, I would hope that over the years they've learned the casualty count will be much less if you do not allow things to get that far. Perhaps we could pose it to them that way, once we have more allies on our side, that if we continue to wait, it's only going to bring the battle to our doorstep, where we could meet it where it is head on and save those who rely on us for protection.
Even more simply, are they not sworn to serve the High King or Queen, whoever that is, at this point, right?
Yes, which would be Bristlebeard.
If we could prove to them through magic or however that the truth of our claims are so, then
Yes, perhaps if they have, not that I'm saying you are untrustworthy, Brother Elzor, but if they have their own priests of the Ardors that they would like to have us submit the truth to by their own magics or ways, then perhaps they'd be more likely to believe us.
yes, if they prefer pagan rites, that's perfectly acceptable for sure.
Certainly.
I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt for them to learn some of the Duneborough style of fighting for the border skirmishes, and they'd be providing us a certain distraction on that front anyways.
Yes, also if we can get the Bleachwood Holt on our side and we can inform them of what the Armadillo has told us, we can perhaps have them beef up their border security and be prepared for any invasion force that might be coming. So either way, we are prepared if there is an approach, and if not, then it was just a precaution.
I don't have the map. Is it the Duneborough is mostly bordering Bleachwood Holt, right?
Actually, it shares a larger border with Riddle Hill Run
Oh,
because it kind
okay.
of bats up against the mountains. But the Bleachwood Holt does have a significant amount, as does Vale Hollow.
That's also something to bring up to King Ulrich, is that his neighbor might be intending an invasion based on, I don't know, information that may or may not be true at this point.
I mean,
This politics stuff sucks. How do you do it?
Liliana speaks
that's
up again.
all I've done.
Liliana speaks up again. She's like, wait, you raise a good point for us not going into Duneborough, which is that if we go to King Ulrich and tell him that he needs to bolster his forces at the border, he'll be leaving himself open to the south. there's an ongoing civil war. They're trying to get to King Ulrich to take him out.
So if we make allies
So
with
if-
him and then split his army,
Yes, if we promise him that we can aid him in ending this civil war, perhaps by getting the aid of the Bleachwood Holt, then we can overthrow the Armadillo. No one has to worry about facing battles on the home front while also defending from the greater nations.
But if we're in control of the armies of Doomborough, though, like, then we can make those promises right away.
I think we could.
So
That's
those are our
true.
two directions then. Either we take out the Duneborough Rain Lord in secret, install Brass Bandalaw and use his forces to help take out the Armadillo, or we stay at home, build our forces here, and then go into Duneborough.
I don't like the idea of appealing to people's nobility in a time like this.
You mean that?
Unfortunately, the nobles are the ones who control the armies.
No, but just like assuming that you are the rightful heir and all that, and they're just gonna turn beliefs and follow you. Like,
Oh, you mean trusting that they will accept the truth or, care that the truth is
or
what it
care.
is?
You can't always rely on people to do the right thing.
This is true.
Well, the Bleachwood Holt, really what we need to discover before we give our own hand is why they've been closed off.
Can I have everybody make a history check real quick as you're talking about the integrity of the various nobles?
You were rolling great today.
Little tiny D20. 22, 14.
My dice like it more when we do the things that I made Azalea to do.
Dirty 20.
Nice.
That's a
show you how small
17.
it is.
A
17.
filthy little slutty 20.
Slutty little 20.
You two are aware, and probably can relay to the group, that King Ulrich was a prince of Riddle Hill Run who was sent to the Bleachwood Holt to meet his betrothed. Typically, among the heirs of Riddle Hill Run, if you are not chosen to be the heir, but you are still of noble birth, typically you'll either be sent to mingle with nobility of other kingdoms and bring them back to your kingdom, or stay in their kingdoms to form stronger alliances. Ulrich was last in line to be, he was the least likely to be named the king. And so was then sent off to be married to
Lady Lara Windstride of House Kane.
yeah.
Damn!
Oh shit.
Boom! I was like, I remember the story.
So, Alira Windstride of House Kane was part of an organized marriage between herself and King Ulrich of Prince Ulrich, before he had even a name.
Right.
They were set to be married. He went to the Bleachwood Holt to meet her for the first time, and they were set to be engaged. However, Alira Windstride of House Kane was also secretly in love with Juniper Theros. So Juniper had also left Timberhaven to go and seek out Alira. So when she finally made her way to the Bleachwood Holt to confess her love, which by this point she had met up with Cobble, who would become Cobble Tidebreaker, and was sort of kind of teaching him how to manage his emerald gemstone that he was a commoner who, by way of finding an emerald in his in the shale mines where he worked and having it accidentally attuned to him, was like one of the first animals to find out that you could attune to a gem soul if you were not a noble. So she was kind of teaching him how to use that on the road with the help of a former royal guardsman of the Mad King, actually, named Sir Waggard the Grim. So they were kind of a little party traveling together to the Bleachwood Holt to try and seek aid, and along the way were convincing Juniper of House Theros that she should reveal who she is, because she was going by the name Pounce at the time, and basically take her place as the High Queen, but they needed backing, so the Bleachwood Holt was where they were trying to go to get that. By manner of a series of events, she did step up and become the High Queen of the Nettlewood Grove, and took Alira Windstride to be her wife. King Ulrich was present for all of this and was pretty chill with it, because he as bears do, had many mates before this arranged marriage was arranged.
Right. You don't get to be jealous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wasn't like thrilled about this monogamy he was being forced into.
Right.
Clearly.
He actually had to like give up like multiple lovers. Was the whole thing. Yeah, that's why I remembered the story.
How do you,
Yeah.
So how do you then go back and be like, hey, it didn't work out, so are you busy or?
Well, so while they were at the Bleachwood Holt, the same assassin who eliminated the line of Theros, except for Pounce, also infiltrated Riddle Hill Run and basically did the same thing again. Ulrich Ironhide was the last of his line. So he became, in that moment, within the Bleachwood Holt, the king of Riddle Hill Run.
Got it.
And then the Wolves' forces, who had absorbed a lot of the bears of Riddle Hill Run at that point, and were basically like, you fight for us now because you fight or you die. Final battle took place. Cobble Tidebreaker became a hero, eliminated the Mad King. Juniper Theros was elevated to the High Queen. Everything was chill for a while.
Right.
And then there was this tournament.
Oopsie doodle.
So here's the good news. When it comes to Riddle Hill Run, we know what King Ironhide is after. We know that he's after forces to help him stop the Civil War and not lose his and his heirs' seats. Right? So that's simple.
Right. So, sorry, long story short, I forgot that this was because of a roll you made.
Right.
What you glean from that, in addition to what you clearly have gleaned from that, is that King Ulrich Ironhide has immutable character. He's a very honorable king and animal in general. Whenever he was told, you got to tell your 15 girlfriends goodbye and go marry this lady, he wasn't thrilled about it, but he did it.
Right.
And then once he was there and found out, like, oh, this person I'm supposed to marry is actually in love with this other woman, he was like, yeah, you guys should be together, and willfully stepped aside. He seems to be someone who appreciates the truth.
So, we know what he's after. If we can provide that, and we would, with his just a little bit of help. And that's all the game is. The game of politics is figuring out what somebody else wants before you ask for the thing that you really need. Right? So on one side, we got it. We know what he wants. We know what we can offer. On the other side, on Bleachwood Holt, we have no fucking clue because they've been dead silent for a while now. So, the hard part is figuring out that before we say, hey, by the way, there's a chance that they have no problems with what's happening up north in Duneborough. They might be like, cool, that's fine. So then we'd have to figure out what else we can help with to get their help.
I'm saying a bug in your paws were two in the bush, like...
But we don't have any bugs. You have
got-
many bugs.
Yeah. I mean, we got him.
Right, but he's also saying that's not enough against the forces of Duneborough.
Yeah, but don't go up against forces of Duneborough.
Right. Maybe I'm confused.
I mean, there's also the possibility that we fix things here on your home front. I, could make myself an integral part of your party as well, one of your generals, blah, 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 so that afterwards we do the same plan we have now, which is sneak over the border to take out the Rain Lord, implement me as Rain Lord. The Nettlewood Grove will already I will have reputation here. So the people will be more willing to accept this new connection, this new treaty between our peoples, because the one leading them is someone who helped liberate and install the rightful leader here.
I think with power here, we could mostly deal with the squabbles in Duneborough with as little bloodshed as possible. If we were to try to go now, or if we fail and we stir shit up, even if we are dead, there's going to be irreparable damage to both places.
I agree with the High Queen, and as much as I hate to admit it, obviously everyone's goal is going to be a bloodless revolution, right? Unfortunately, there's currently a war going on here right now, where the bears are trying to overthrow their own king. That's happening. We've witnessed it firsthand. We got caught up in it. Duneborough, at this point, is basically a rumor.
Sure, there's battles on the border. There's always going to be battles on borders, as long as people are pushing and pulling against them. But right now, people are dying here in the Nettlewood Grove. Your people. And in my mind, I feel like that takes precedence. No offense. Kind of like looks at Brass. Kind of just like, you're very eloquent. And he's like, thank you. I could really use a nap.
So, with King Ulrich, he's not going to split his forces to help us take out the armadillo. We would have to help him win his war. And only then would he, and if he even believes our claim in the first place, would he help?
Who were the two forces that were clashing in that battle that we got caught in the middle of? Was that was the armadillo's forces versus the bear forces? Was that it?
But not Ulrich's bears. His
The
two of his sons. that
Yeah.
are-
the insurrectionist bears.
Yeah, the insurrectionist bears are basically like having to carry out guerrilla warfare because they're trying to get back into Riddle Hill Run, but at the same time they're being shut in on the other side by House Theros.
They're probably going to try to kill Ulrich. And
Is the armadillo's forces are like supporting Ulrich in this basically, and to quell this civil war? Is that kind of
Yeah.
what's going on?
Shit.
So we
Sure. So we go to the Suns at this point? I don't
No.
understand anymore.
I've got an
So-
idea.
Oh.
Munin speaks up. If our plan is to stay here and to quell this mess of forces that's happening, if Ulrich believes that it's the High King that is aiding him, if he is an honorable bear, as you say, we could help him in ending the war, and in doing so, he could grant us an opportunity to lure the armadillo into a trap.
that's possible.
If the armadillo believes that he is allied with King Ulrich, and King Ulrich is sympathetic to our cause and knows that this armadillo is a lying traitor, perhaps he'd be willing to help us set up a bit of a trap.
So if we can get to the bear, then perhaps he can tell us where we would need to go to help with this quelling the civil war.
Yes, perhaps similarly to what we did with the Howling Keep. His armies could continue to fight on the front lines as a distraction, while a small force of, say, 7 or 8 of us make our way to where the leaders are and cut the head off the snake.
It's easier than a whole army. Nobody new is at risk. And then, perhaps, King Ulrich could help us in the Bleachwood Holt, as they already have a relationship of sorts. It was thanks to his stepping aside and keeping his fucking face out of it that one of theirs was able to become High Queen for any time.
So it seems that our next stop should be Riddle Hill Run.
Did it seem to y'all that the King's Guard were still trying to protect Riddle Hill Run? Is that?
I'm unclear on whether or not it is that they're protecting Riddle Hill Run, or if it is that it's inconvenient for issues to be happening here in the midst of everything else.
I think we should absolutely be wary. If everything goes our way, we help King Ulrich secure his throne and quell the rebellion. If he then sets up a meeting that we're planning to use as a trap to get the armadillo, we should also be wary that that same meeting could be used as a trap by the armadillo to oust King Ulrich and put a figurehead in charge.
I theorize that if Bristlebeard is aiding King Ulrich, that is why.
If
Nobody can be in power under him that he can't.
Control.
we ended this civil war, would you not be able to take possession of Howlheart Keep back, since the bears would no longer be attacking and all of that?
Munin speaks up and she's like, well, you are the rightful queen.
and air.
Not with the armadillo around. If he has forces in there, he would likely take over it.
But that does mean that King Ulrich would support your position there.
Also, currently, I believe the bears that staged the coup at the wedding have pasted up in Howlheart Keep. It's a well-defensible spot.
Oh, it's gonna be so sticky in there. Honey and other
Munen's like feathers puff up as she like puts her hands out to the side and she's like, perhaps we bring a gift to King Ulrich. No one knows the inside of Howlheart Keep better than someone who grew up there. We've all seen how good you are at getting around quietly and stealthily. I'd wager a well-defensible spot, a place that you could plan from, launch attacks from. If the bears that are in charge of this coup are stationed at Howlheart Keep, if we go there first, take out those bears, bring their heads to King Ulrich as a gift, then tell him the truth, we've already solved one of his problems. He would owe us.
I'm sorry, I would just like to point out really quickly. The last time we were at Howlheart all by our lonesomes, and the bears attacked us, we did get our asses handed directly to ourselves.
Right, but that was the other way around. They got the jump on us, and we were unarmed. It was a wedding.
Well, that's true.
Unarmed and
case-
unarmored.
We did kill a whole lot of the, fancy people.
That's true.
The truth is that we did survive that, even as badly outnumbered and unarmored and unarmed as we were.
Most of us.
Well, this time we won't drink poison.
Perhaps we can place some. What are you saying,
Same
Cockle?
plan as Doombro, but
Smaller. It's not an entire nation.
Right, it's not an emperor, it's just a false...
And any
King.
wolves remaining at Timberhaven who are currently being subdued by the bears can come to our aid as soon as they're gone.
So we won't be covered in sand the whole time, which will be pleasant.
Yes.
Plus, this one is our home turf. Hugin's, most specifically.
I like to think there's currently a map in Hugin's mind of just every secret corridor and tunnel that you've this place like the feathers on the back of your wing. Anywhere within that keep, you, at least alone, could get there undetected.
There's an Ocean's 11 style map running through her brain. All right, we're gonna need a gymnast, somebody who's good with computers, whatever those are.
right, winged wolf, what do you say? I put my trust in you to begin with, so.
So I guess the question is, do we want to do this before we attempt to meet with King Ulrich or after?
I think if we're going to stage any kind of attack, we don't want to be seen on our way to... we don't want to double back and forth multiple times.
I
So
should think
we need to do one or the other.
Right, and I should think if we do go in beforehand, we'd want to do it quietly, right? We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we pop out from the shadows and take out the leaders and then still have to fight out our ways out through the army. We'd want to do it nice and quiet. Take them out, in and out before anybody knows. Just like kind of what you did at the...
At this point, it is our forte. Then again, what
It
if
went really well.
What if we did both? What if the sisters
If
still
they
went
still
to
go.
King Ulrich and told him the information, and then also made the promise of we intend to help him with his civil war?
Do
Just
like
make sure that
the
no
idea of
spies.
having,
The
some
backup.
some people behind us when we, tried to get them on our side.
He could perhaps, if his armies are already heading south, if any of them can break away once he's alerted of our plan,
Well, then we can maybe
or push through, rather.
pincer,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If he's aware, as soon as he becomes aware, we're moving up from this direction, he's possibly moving down, it carves out a space for travel at least.
Not to mention with two groups if one of us fails, and
The other one could succeed.
possibly, and then at least somebody would know that that damn armadillo is not who he says he is.
Has there been like hearsay of how many people were slaughtered or whatever once the rogue bear faction took over Howhart?
For sure.
Like, did they go and like kill everyday citizens, or is it like
Oh,
a massacre?
yeah. It was indiscriminate once they were invading. Like, I'd say that that well over 4,000 people, soldiers and civilians, all together, 4,000 were killed.
How long will it take Liliana and Ash to get to King Ulrich versus how long it would take us to get to Howhart? Because
It would be
think
about
we
the
should
same.
try and okay.
Because you guys are in like northern Timberhaven, you're north of Oakreach. So they would actually probably get to King Ulrich before you get to Howlhart.
Okay. So we should try and line up with how long it would take for his forces to get. We should get there first, but we want hopefully a staggered appearance of more bears to appear somewhere in our business.
And it would be ideal that we did this plan hopefully prior to Liliana and Ash making any mention of it and there being a possibility of word getting to them.
That's true.
Right.
But what of you?
So should we take
feathered
off at the
friend?
same time?
Your Zephyria mentioned that us going into Duneborough was at least a righteous path. This is quite a turn of events.
Yes, but, the responses were based on the questions that we asked, which were specific at the time. I could, not today, not tonight, but tomorrow, possibly, instead of scrying, I could attempt a more powerful divination called communing, where we could ask up to 3 questions. Just to carefully phrase them, beforehand, of course, and get a yes or no answer from whoever amongst Zephyria's entourage answers.
I mean, I believe, and I could be misunderstanding your question here, but I believe it's more whether or not you feel that you're doing the right thing by Zephyria. Is that what you were asking?
Are you on board?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
It's because you have feathers.
Do you have a way of like talking to people from far away or anything?
It's how we got information from Rob as to where he was.
Yes.
Maybe you just have to be familiar with them, right?
Ash
I
speaks
do.
up. I was going to get perhaps Azalea's scent, and we could, as our first plan entailed, we could send a bee when we've arrived. That way, if you've made it, then you can respond and we'll all know that we're in place.
Yes, I do have the ability to perform a sending, where I can send a message and they can reply, much as we did with Rob.
Instantaneous would be great, yes.
Yes.
All right.
So
we
I
all.
go up there and we let them know when we've reached the keep.
What if... Well... As far as Thylas knew, we were heading to Duneborough. Maybe it's not such a bad idea to leave a trail of false information. It's almost unfortunate, Sir Rob, that you're so good at what you do. It would have been great if they knew that we were heading to Duneborough. They would not be expecting us to be heading to Hellheart.
How long ago was the fight, the skirmish that we kind of accidentally made our way through?
3 or 4 days?
That could have implied very well that we were headed to Duneborough anyway. People got away from us. People captured Rob.
Or Riddle Hill.
Either way, they don't actually know where we're going right now. We've already passed the keep.
That's true. We did flee to the north.
Maybe that's all the misdirection that we need.
They're probably tearing their fur out, trying to figure out what we're after right now.
Unless they were spying on us. Which they're not right now, so...
I think it's safer to maybe take a boat down towards the keep.
Hit them by sea or
I
river.
don't know about safer, but it would be faster.
They
You
wouldn't
think-
anticipate it.
Think they're stopping boats and checking them?
No, almost certainly.
But when we fled the keep, we went underground. We went through the crypts. I don't see why we couldn't do it again.
I know you like talking a lot and all that. but
Yeah.
Maybe I should take the point when we're traveling.
Sure.
I think this is a good idea. You say you know of a way in to the keep through the crypts?
That's where we came out. In theory, Hugin would know all of the places that they...
Right, but they did chase us through them. They might have guards posted up.
right, I forgot. It's been a while.
Technically... Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
there's-
the place where you came out was burned to the ground.
If you had a map of any kind, do you think you could figure out exits and entrances? Let's say that Hugin could draw you something
Oh,
rough.
me?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Do you think you know the space well enough to get a rough drawing down of it?
Yeah, I think so.
Then I believe the two of you could get us in and out, relatively unseen.
I don't think that's the problem. It's the travel now. How do we do this with the least amount of threat to being discovered?
Bugs!
Y'all are people that lived up near the border. Since all the skirmishing, you paid me to lead you down the river to get you someplace safe. I heard now that the bears are in charge of Howhart Keep, that, you know, at least calm down there.
I think this is good. We maybe not disguise ourselves as different creatures, but we just, we're just common folk trying to. Maybe we're displaced, as you say, displaced by the civil war ongoing, and looking for somewhere safe to re-inhabit.
Works for me.
Yes. And, if our hand is forced, we can unleash violence on whoever is trying to stop us.
I like this plan.
We leave in the morning?
Everybody kind of looks across at each other, nods, deep breaths.
Rob, you're staying here? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm going with you.
Okay.
All right. As everybody beds down, I am going to have an aside with Hugin.
Yeah. Munin, as everybody's kind of getting ready, Munin's like, I'll take first watch, make sure no one comes across our camp.
Can we hear Thylas snoring outside?
Make a perception check.
Great. 13.
13. No. You get the sense he's moved along.
Oh, okay. He said he was sleeping outside, so I thought he was just right outside.
I think he was doing his best to be polite to people that he's bred hatred for, and was just like, thank you, I'll be out here, and then left.
There's a small problem with some of the things that we've agreed to. I sort of promised Lance, that I wasn't going to send a bunch of people to their deaths for no reason, And I worry, potentially, that agreeing to Brass's terms of, taking over his land at the cost of, the lives of footmen is kind of against what I promised somebody who is now dead, and I feel bad about it. I don't like it.
Well, maybe we still try the old sneak in and murder the heads thing. It's been kind of now our forte, I would say.
It's kind of going well.
Yeah.
I don't want to send a bunch of little people in. I don't know them, but it feels wrong. Because He said it was. He told me that. And I didn't pay him.
There's a split second that Hugo was like, is that growth? No, it was a glint of the light. Maybe that's just plan B. Maybe plan A is quiet. Regicide. I'm a
Right.
big fan of that one.
It seems to be going well. Like wars, notoriously, mostly they don't go well.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they do.
Suck.
And a lot of people kind of die. Good for the economy, though. So there's that. But right, it would be mean. It would be a bad thing to do.
Right, yeah, I think just...
I like that you just realized that like 4,000 of like basically your people are dead. You're like, it's good for the economy.
Economies thrive in times of war. Not for everyone, but for like me, would be good.
We'll try the quiet way first, and if that doesn't work, then we'll figure something out.
All right. Or we kill just Brass. If he's gonna be like a shit about it.
No.
If he's gonna be a shit about it, if he's like, you have to send armies to kill my brother, and they'll have to die too, we'll have to kill him. That's the moral thing to do.
I mean, it's true. At this point, we were like, oh, we're going to help you, and then we'll have your armies to help us. But now we're just like, we're going to do it without you. So, like, what do we need him for?
Keeping his mouth shut, that's about. I'm just saying, right now, he's cool. And I think he could continue to be cool. But if
It'd
he's
be
not.
nice to be, you know, like buddy-buddy with Duneborough instead of...
If I have to, I'll
punchy-punchy.
marry him. But if he's gonna be a shit, we have problems. His big fingers.
So you have two. The two options are murder or marry him.
We call it fuck, marry, kill, the kids do, I hear.
Oh, Lord. The whole fuck, marry, kill thing, but it's just one person. That's it. We don't have choices.
It's kind of based on him, really. It's based on his behavior.
That's how the game is played in this universe. Who's your fuck, marry, kill?
You just have to pick you look at a person and you got to pick two options. Two of the three options for that one person.
There's people because they're bugs.
They
Is that
fuck,
what-
marry,
yeah,
and
they-
kill.
yeah, fuck, marry, kill in
all
that
of the
order.
above. Really, any of us could do any of it to any person at any time, given the right circumstances.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Sure. So don't immediately send. My first decree will not be war with Duneborough. We agree.
Right, we're gonna do sneaky sneakies.
Other things. Great. I was checking in. You're my moral compass now.
Oh, God. Zephyr spread me.
Lance had that job and then he died. So
Elzor's head turns fully around.
I hear spreading.
All right. Does anyone else get up to anything in particular that night?
I'll take second watch again.
Okay.
I'll just be praying
where are we?
and sleeping.
Yeah, what's going on?
We're in a tree.
We're in a tree.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're in like a section of forest that was once a village, but has been long since abandoned, and it's kind of overgrown. So it's just like this kind of eerie ghost town of hollowed out tree hovels.
Do you have like rooms?
No.
Yeah, there's like rooms within the
Oh,
space.
it's like a
but
little house
Yeah.
that was a tree.
Yeah.
It's a big house.
It's a big tree.
A big tree.
Sequoias.
Azalea, you go to take second watch. Make a quick perception check.
20 bears attack and we all
10.
die.
10. Munin is there, and she's got like a lute in her hands, but she's not playing it. She's just kind of like doing the motions on the fretboard of a song, and there's like this just like faint harmony to it when she presses the strings down. But there's she's obviously like staying quiet and keeping watch, and takes notice as you approach. My queen, are you on second watch?
Yes.
It's been all quiet so far, thankfully. I hope it stays that way. Is there anyone that I should send out for third watch?
I trust the possum. He sees everything.
All right.
He's just, it cuts to him and he's like sleeping with his eyes open in two directions. Just bug eyes.
Little bugs crawling across it.
On your eye,
It's very Aeon Flux.
You take your watch. It's uneventful. You swap out for Pockle as the sun is just beginning to kind of give a hint that it's going to rise on the horizon. Pockle, you can make a perception check as well.
The suspense.
Tiny dice.
I haven't done my long rest yet because I'm
Okay,
scared
sorry.
something is going to happen.
26.
Oh,
26. Nice.
Good job, tiny dice. So little.
There's a moment during your watch where you're nervous that somebody might be creeping up on the area where you're all staying, but eventually just like a little caterpillar inches out of the bushes nearby, just like eats an entire bush before moving on. And yeah, it's quiet until the sun rises. Everyone awakens the next day feeling rested as Ash and Dame Liliana gear up for their trek to the north towards Riddle Hill Run to entreat with King Ulrich. There's a moment as everyone's kind of waking up where both Munin and Brass are kind of like looking around. Brass is like, I'm with you guys, right?
yeah, I think I want that power there.
Right, good.
Just try and look cool.
Like, it seems a bad idea to send you up with them.
Yeah, I agree. It probably would not be super safe.
Neither way is safe, and honestly, we're supposed to be stealthy in both directions.
True.
What are we going to disguise you as?
I
Just
think I
throw
will
like
just-
a ratty cloak over there.
Yes, I think I will just be, my parents have lived in the Netwood Grove for 3 generations.
Just goes under the boat every time.
I'm 4th generation of Arbor Heart, displaced by the war, came into Timberhaven, seeking refuge.
Not with that accent, you're not.
Bad news, we are well north of Arborheart.
I came. How do people down here talk?
Listen, we lived on the border of Duneborough. Some skirmishes kind of destroyed our village.
Oh,
We're
I
just
was-
looking for somewhere else.
I was in town to watch the
Tournament?
tournament, yes, and borders to Bleachwood Holt closed. I could not go home.
Right, same is true for all of us.
Right.
I mean,
You can pretty much go where you want to go. You're a priest.
Diplomatic community.
The wind is everywhere.
It's true. She's always spreading them.
All right.
I look at Munin, I guess. Zephyrin robes again, I suppose.
Yes. Well, we've got them. Go ahead and everybody gets dressed, and preparations
I'm not
done.
going to put on robes.
No, that's fair.
You're
No,
just
no,
naked.
yeah.
Frogging out.
Papa takes his clothes off.
And now I feel better. I'm gonna cast
Like, I've done that before.
disguise self and just look like kind of a travel-worn Fennec fox.
Yeah, you all don your subtle disguises of just common folks and begin to set out on your various journeys. And that's where we're going to end this episode of A War of Fang and Fur.
I hope this works.
Could I have all of you choose one of these abilities to make a check with? You can either go with stealth, survival, or deception. This is sort of a blanket check that I will take the average of the group and put against my DC to see if you raise any suspicion as you are making your way down the river. Yeah.
Swap off. Like a
His front 2 tusks on one side are shattered, as is a third just molar in the back. And he loses 50 pounds from that single strike. Kind of hunches over, and you see as he brings his hand up to his shoulder where his onyx gem soul is, there's an innate reaction of him reaching and clutching that.
This is so stressful. Why do you do this to us, Cam?
That's what I was saying earlier. That's why this one can't be long form, because we'll all be too stressed all the time.
I can heal both of you, but that's a 5th level spell. Well, I can heal both of you with a 3rd level spell.
There you go.
It's just not very much healing.
Anything is good.
You're both hurt real bad.
Focus attacks, yeah. We take them down one at a time.
5,
First of all, no.
25.
Okay.
oh boy.
Well, now the stab occurs.
Walks towards the door, kind of takes like a wider berth past your table, and instantly you notice when he gets to the door, he turns the lock and does not go outside.
Get your home back, no matter what.
You nod.